Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about why I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV and why I think you guys should too. Um, I've been playing World of Warcraft for a really long time. Uh, since Burning Crusade pre-patch is about when I started. And it has been an amazing game up until, the last two expansions. It's been, my main game for a really, really long time. And it's just not fun anymore. And Blizzard, with their recent actions with TBC and with, their decisions with Shadowlands as well, it's just not very fun. And looking into like their mindset, it just feels like they're not even really trying to make a game. They're just trying to squeeze as much money as they can out of people. If you look at everything that they've done in the last like 2 years, they don't really care about the game, it feels like. So I got fed up and I decided to download Final Fantasy XIV. And I've tried Final Fantasy XIV before, and I haven't really ever gotten that far into it because I'm an impatient person. I played WoW. I always wanted to race to the end. But this time I tried it, and I actually decided to go slow, be patient, and read some of the quests and, understand some of the story that's going on. And they are not even really comparable. Final Fantasy does character progression right. They do classes the right way. They make you actually feel attached to your character. Whereas World of Warcraft, as of right now, I don't have any characters that I care about anymore. They keep giving you things and then taking them away. Whereas in Final Fantasy, they just give you all of the tools that you could ever want. And because of that, I think that Blizzard is really shooting themselves in their own foot by basically taking away the things that people like all the time. But so far in Final Fantasy, I'm not max level yet. I'm almost level 50, which is, I think, the end of the first game, the main game, which is what people always say is the slowest part of the game. And initially, yeah, it was a little bit rough, I won't lie. I think that the weakest point for Final Fantasy is the early game. The first, I would say, like 15 to 20 levels were really slow. Just because you only have a couple abilities and they have a global cooldown of like 2.5 seconds, which if you've played WoW, it's only like 1.5 seconds. So everything just feels that much slower. The end game, or the dungeons, I should say, that I've done so far, and I've done like one little mini raid thing in Final Fantasy, feel so much better than anything that I've done in WoW, except for maybe the raids that I've done at the end. Every encounter that you have in a dungeon is unique. There's actual mechanics while doing leveling dungeons. And in World of Warcraft, it's not like you even really need to pay attention while you're doing dungeons unless if they're mythic. It's unfortunate that that's the way it is in World of Warcraft. It just feels like nothing really matters except for the very end. And I kind of wish that Blizzard would just focus on making that content instead of even attempting to make leveling content, because they don't do it right. They do it really poorly. The story in World of Warcraft is a joke. Everybody who plays it is kind of just like, oh, what is this, Garrosh 2.0 with the whole Sylvanas thing? And I have a feeling it probably will be. Well, we already know it is, basically, but anyway, not talking about lore. The reason I think that people should try Final Fantasy XIV is because if you've played World of Warcraft and you enjoy MMOs and you miss that sense of community and you miss like exploring a new world, Final Fantasy XIV is amazing for that. It's a massive game. So many different areas you can run around in that all have their own different feel. And the quests and things like that. I would say that a lot of the quests are kind of just delivery quests. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them are where you just run from place to place. But while you're doing those quests, there are probably dozens of side quests that have you go and do, like, something unique. The way that they do their class system in the game is that you can have one character be maxed out in every class, so you don't have to level up another character from 1 to 80 every single time. I mean, you do technically, but you don't have to start from scratch, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas in World of Warcraft, you can play a druid. Okay, that's fine. You get them to level 60, let's say. And then, oh, you want to play a warrior. Okay, make another character, level them all the way up. You can use the gold that you have from your other character to buy stuff for them. But, like, aside from that, like, it doesn't really matter. And that's the other thing about World of Warcraft is, like I said, the end game is really the only thing that matters. In Classic WoW, it's not necessarily the case. A lot of people liked the leveling experience in Classic and in TBC, which is to be seen. I mean, the fact that Blizzard, so here's, let's just get this out of the way. Blizzard, their monetization of TBC is what really threw me off. Like, I started playing Final Fantasy a couple days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, and I've been playing it a lot. I have like 30 hours in the last 4 days. I enjoy it a lot so far. But the reason I started trying it is because I was really excited for TBC. I was. I had like my characters were all set up. I was planning on leveling up a shaman. I was doing all this, pre-planning basically because I really wanted to play TBC. And then Blizzard drops this bomb on the community basically saying, hey, we're going to charge you $35 per character to keep your character on both Classic and have them go on to TBC. $35 per character. I only have one character that I would keep right now anyway. But that's egregious. You're going to charge me over 2 months of a sub fee just to keep my character on Classic and play him on TBC. I don't know what they're thinking. I genuinely have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. The only way it makes sense is because they want money, which is just a shame. And that's not the only thing. They're adding a new mount, like the store mount to TBC. That's another thing that bothers me. And the real issue I have with it is that it sets the precedent that they're going to do this in the future. I like World of Warcraft without all of this stuff. I don't think boosts should have ever been put in the game. Ever. I don't think that store mounts should be in the game. I think that they should be rewards. I think it would be cool if that Warp Stalker mount was something that dropped from something that they added, like down the line of TBC. I am a personal proponent of something like Classic Plus, where there would be a continuation of the old systems. Obviously, I don't trust Blizzard to do it the right way, but in a perfect world, that would be what I would want. And unfortunately, I don't see that ever happening. They're just going to charge you for it, and that's that. What's also disgusting about that is that they're charging $70 for their digital deluxe edition of a game that you already purchased a long time ago. Not everybody purchased TBC that is going to be playing it now, but I did. And it makes me sad because I really was excited to play that because it was the first World of Warcraft expansion that I ever played in. I didn't play Classic, or I didn't play Vanilla. I started in TBC, essentially. And I loved World of Warcraft back then. It was like my favorite game ever. It still is. But it's more like the memory of the game that I like. The actual game has gone from like a 9 or 10 out of 10 to being, I don't even want to play it anymore. It's just not fun. And it's unfortunate. But, like I've been saying, Final Fantasy XIV, I feel like, is what World of Warcraft lacks. It lacks that feeling of progression. It lacks that sense of like being in a world to go and explore. Uh, it lacks the sense that the community, or not necessarily the community, but the developers actually care. Like, Final Fantasy has all of these things. There are so many reasons why I like Final Fantasy. Right now, I've only been playing one character, or one class, and that's been the Paladin. And the fantasy is nailed. You are a big frontline tank with a shield, and you have all of these different abilities. You have like 20 different abilities that you can be using at any time. And then you go and play World of Warcraft, and they actively take things away from the characters all the time. And let's just talk about Shadowlands for 1 second. Shadowlands, well, and BFA, all they do is basically make it miserable for the players. Torghast isn't fun. World quests aren't fun. It's a game, it's supposed to be fun, and as soon as you stop having fun in a game, you don't really want to play it. There are people that will force themselves, like the hardcore players, to get whatever they want out of the game. For the people that are Mythic Raiders, the people that are Raiders in general typically say that the game is in a pretty good place because raids are the only thing that they do well, and dungeons. Whereas everyone else, or every other piece of content, I should say, not everyone else, isn't fun. Why are you making the world a chore instead of something you want to go and explore? That's the issue. Final Fantasy does all of that the right way. Running around in the world, there's things going on all the time. Dungeons are unique. The raids, although I haven't played them, I have watched them, and they look amazing. The class system is amazing. The profession system is super in-depth and good. I'm not going to say that Final Fantasy XIV is for everybody, because it's not. If you don't like the aesthetic of the game, if you don't like story-based games, you're probably not going to like it. And that's okay. But I do think that it is worth at least trying. And for the people that are looking for a new MMO or are just sick of being burned by Blizzard, I think it's an amazing time to try it. Because right now, with TBC coming up in the next week, at least the pre-patch, and then in 3 weeks from now, it'll be out. I think now would be a great time to show Blizzard that you're not afraid to just go to a different game, because they genuinely believe that they have their audience on a hook, and they're not going to leave. And for the most part, I think they are right. There are some people that will never leave, but I do think that they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they actually have a real Western MMO like Ashes of Creation that tries to take their player base. And that is why I think this is the other thing. They only gave 2 weeks of pre-patches because they wanted their June 1st TBC launch to line up with the Ashes of Creation alpha. And because of that, they are hurting their own players. They're so worried about Ashes of Creation taking players away from them that they'd rather hamstring their own players instead of care about their community. And Blizzard's incredibly slow development time, as well as their just seemingly lack of awareness about issues in the community, as well as in the game, makes it so that it is only a matter of time until they are basically just irrelevant. You can't keep doing the same thing wrong in different ways and expect people to think you're going to get it right, because you're not. And this isn't against any individuals at Blizzard. This is against just in general. I think that they are doing things wrong in so many different ways that I don't see them actually fixing it. They would need to basically completely overhaul the way that they look at the game. And because of that, I don't see that happening. They think that they're doing the right thing. And that's up to them. But I think that the numbers aren't necessarily telling the whole truth to them. And personally, that's why I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I've been enjoying it. My brother, also an avid World of Warcraft player, is also playing Final Fantasy XIV, and he said that he's probably not even going to play TBC. And my sub runs out in 3 months, and we'll see. I might play TBC for a little bit, and then get tired of it, like most people will, and then let my sub die for the first time in 14 years. Or 13 years. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with moving on to a new game. But I think that Blizzard has gotten enough of my money as well as a lot of other people's money. And for what they do to try to get that money, they don't deserve it, in my opinion. And this is all my opinion. There are some people that genuinely think that Blizzard's doing a great job. And even those people, I think that maybe you should try a different game just to see and compare. It can't hurt, right? But anyway, that's enough of today's rant about Blizzard. If there's anything that you're not sure about, like in terms of my opinion, just ask me. Leave it in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this where I give just my opinions on things, put it in the comments. If you like the video, please like my video, and if you want to see more videos like this one or my other content, please subscribe. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.